Alive.
Hello. Hello. Welcome to EaseDrop. I am Evelyn
And I'm Christina.
and Christina. And I just want to say that Will is not joining us tonight because he's not feeling well. So prayers up to Will. But anyway, thank you for joining us for EaseDrop. We are going where the conversation takes us. I would also like to thank Promise Resource Network for giving us this platform to share our thoughts and ideas. And thank you for joining in. Please support Promise Resource Network um, through your charitable donations. So, EaseDrop, encouraging women to have thought provoking conversations about love, life, relationship, careers, and personal development. So today we are going to talk about um, do you listen to support or do you listen to fits? Okay, so what do I mean by that? What I mean is this. So sometimes someone tells you what's going on with them. I'll give you this example because it's one that I use in a training. So you might come in late for work, right? The question would be, do you want someone to see you and act like they don't see you so you can slide in and go ahead and start your job? Do you want someone to say, hey, you're late again? Or do you want someone to give you the opportunity to vent? So, a lot of people, if they were being supportive, they might give you the opportunity to vent or not say anything. How they respond or how you want them to support you around that depends on the individual. Some people might want to vent about why they're late. Other people may want to just say, you know what, leave me alone. I don't want to. I don't want to deal with that. Um. So then you have people that's going to want to fix the situation. What do I mean, fix the situation? Some people might say, oh, you're late again. You know what? You need to set your clock 30 minutes ahead so you can hit snooze and then maybe you can get up on time. That's fixing it for me. I don't necessarily need for you to fix my situation. Sometimes I just need to be heard. And we're at a point in society anyway, at this point, where there's a lot of things going on with people. You know, people are experiencing anxiety, don't know that they're experiencing anxiety because they're doing it for the first time. You have some people that's depressed. You have people that's experiencing loss. And everybody likes to be supported differently. What works for me might not work for you. So, how do we get to the point to where we figure out how to support the people around us, the people that we love and care about? Christina?
Well, I know for me, it depends on my mood and what's been going on in my life. Like if everything has just been hard and serious you know, and I just need a break, then sometimes I don't want to do any more work. I don't want to like that internal work is fixing it. Is you know, but I do a lot of
Sometimes I just need
uh, okay. I do a lot of searching on like YouTube for like certain things. I might take interest in hair. I might take interest in dating tips. I might take interest in health, wealth affirmations. Some of that is doing the work, and some of that is just, I just want to, do do stuff to me. But sometimes I just want to relax. I don't want to hear any of it. So
right.
sometimes my support is leave me alone. I wish you would act like you didn't see me, so I can just, deal with however I'm dealing with. So for me, I deal with things in different ways. It just depends on what's happening in my life. I don't think you can ever really know. I think you got to allow a person to tell you how you can support them. And I think even like if you test the waters to see, okay, am I going in the right direction? Like, or you can even ask that person, like, would it be okay if I did this for you? I see this, but I don't know if it's okay for me to step in, or I don't know if it's okay for me to tell you this. And
Right.
or sometimes I think as a friend, they need to hear it whether they like it or not. And so, I feel like I'm that person. I have been that person where I said, well, this is what I see. And I'm not judging you, but I'm just telling you as a friend, this is what I see. And it's ugly. And I just hope that this is something that you would want to change. But, because I see it's an issue. But, I said, and it's possible that you might be okay with your issue. But I just hope that you would want to change that because that's the problem.
Right. So, at what point do you offer that kind of feedback where you're saying that there's something wrong and it needs to be fixed? Because I think sometimes people know that there's a problem. Sometimes people know things need to be fixed. And when they know things need to be fixed and they can't quite figure it out on their own, sometimes they just want to sit with that. Sometimes they don't need us telling them what to do or
But
how
how do
to
you
do
grow
it.
out of that? I feel like you feel uncomfortable with that because you know there's a problem and there's a way to grow out of it. And if we don't address it, if we don't talk about it, if we don't put it on the table and say, this is what we're dealing with right here, then you're going to forever live with it and you won't ever grow from it. It'll be a stuck place, but it don't have to be a stuck place because I think if growth starts first with your awareness of the issue. So when you're aware of the problem, then you then figure out, okay, I see it happening in this way. It's like you kind of understand the pattern of it. Like you just become self-aware of when it comes up and how it comes up. And you know, if it's that serious to you. Now sometimes it's point in life you just know that's what it is, and so well, oh well, because you the way that you view it, you have a different point of view on it, or
Right.
you're getting something from it that is okay with you because that getting that is better than just the alternative.
So, but sometimes I wonder if we want to fix things for people, not because we so much want them to feel better or because we think it's a growth opportunity. I wonder if sometimes we want to fix things for people because we're uncomfortable about their situation. You understand what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, that definitely has been something I think in my previous relationship. I think that a lot of it was just me. Like, and I would even take it personal. Like, what? I don't deserve to be treated like this. Like, why would he? What in the world? And I was just much confusion because I took it as something that you know like how could this happen to me? Like I felt like I had to take it and fix it and control that. But it took me a while, but I started to realize that is him and that is his flaw that you dealing with. Like this man is not perfect, but this is something that comes with him because
Right.
that is a part of who he is, and that's who he will continue to be until he decides that that is an area that he wants to fix. But if he's okay with it, then that's a problem with me. So then I either choose to participate in that party or not participate in that party.
Right. But with so much going on nowadays, just to bring it a little closer to just what everyone is experiencing right now, some of this is new for all of us. So I heard somewhere there was like some people who have never experienced anxiety before, who never experienced depression before, never experienced the amount of loss that is happening now. um, People don't know what to do with that. People don't know what to say. When you have somebody who's lost a lot of people, a lot of loved ones, what do you say to that? How do you fix that? And I think a lot of times we want to tell them to feel better or it's going to be okay. And that's us trying to fix it. What's the problem sometimes with just sitting and being?
Yeah, because I think people got to realize like we are not, this is what you get when you come on this earth. Like this is the experience on this earth. You come and you will die and you will deal with it. Like we are not the first humans. We are not the first generations that have to go through something. I think everybody has to come through and go through something. I mean, the older you live, you're gonna go through some mess that you ain't never had to deal with before, like a life that you couldn't even imagine having. It becomes your life, and that's okay. That's okay. That's okay too. But we figure it out, and that's the whole thing. You figure it out. But I don't think it's good to sit with it. But you
Well,
have to figure it out for you.
so it sounds like you're trying to fix it. It sounds like you want to have the answers, and I think when we want to fix something, we want to have the answers. And I know for me, sometimes if you just let me be, give me my space, sometimes I can figure it out. But there are times when I really do need to just sit with it for a little while. And then when I'm ready, then I'll move on, I'll move forward. And I think for me, I like to be supported in when I'm ready to talk, let me talk. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I'm talking not because I want you to fix it or give me the answers. Sometimes I talk out loud so I can kind of process it in my head and kind of figure it out. So, yeah, then I think it's about timing. Like
Mm-hmm.
everyone moves in their own time.
Mm-hmm.
So, give me a chance to get stuck, if that makes sense.
But how long do you? What you mean? Give you a chance? Like the other person?
No, give me a chance. Like if I'm experiencing something, whether it's loss, grief, whether it's I'm contemplating something, whether I mean, regardless as to what it is, give me time. Let me deal with it my way. Everyone doesn't deal with everything the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So, how I want to be supported is I like to think of myself as a competent person. And when I don't know, I will let you know that I don't know. When I need answers, when I need suggestions, when I need feedback, I'll let you know that's what I need.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't say I need that, then I don't need you trying to fix it for me, especially when it comes to like relationships. And I don't just mean intimate relationships, it could be parent child relationships. So I have an investment in that relationship that maybe you don't. So it kills me when people say, if I were you, I would do this. You don't know that because you don't have the same investment, you don't have the same
Mm-hmm.
risk that
Mm-hmm.
I have in this relationship.
Right. Right. Right.
So sometimes I just need, maybe to just let me go somewhere and do something. Just be willing to go with me. Even if you don't talk about what the issue is, just be there for me.
Well, I think sometimes people don't know how to verbalize how they feel, or don't even know for themselves what they
Right,
need. And
right.
so it's like it's good for me, I think, when I'm in a situation I just don't know. And maybe I am just sitting and waiting on the answer, or just, trying to figure it out on my own. But then somebody comes through and drops a piece of jewel off for me. And I'm like, wow, like I'm glad that they did. Like whether I probably didn't even want them to come over here and talk to me at this moment. But when they did, and I opened myself up to it, I realized it's exactly what I needed. It's exactly what I needed. And it's an unexpected, sometimes it's an unexpected time, place, or, you know, person that may bring you something that you need. And I mean, I think people, even when, at times when you don't want to hear it, sometimes people give you something and it may not even sit with you right then, but it may sit with you later. So I like the fact that people at least attempt. So at least you got some support. Like even though they may that's not quite it. So like I think at that point it's up to you to verbalize like, no, that's not it. Please, like, I'm okay. Don't be concerned about me, or maybe you should be a little bit concerned about me, but just right now I prefer it this way.
Right,
But
but it sounds like what you are saying is I'm going to tell you how I want to be supported. I just need you to listen to that. When I say I'm good and I don't want to talk right now, I'm good and I don't want to talk right now. But
well,
I think sometimes it's how you give the feedback. So sometimes you can, let's say I don't know exactly how I'm feeling. Let's say I can't put to words what I'm thinking or how I'm feeling, what I'm experiencing. Sometimes you just active listening, reflecting that back to me, saying, wow, that sounds like that was really painful, or you sound like maybe you're confused.
Mm-hmm.
Then sometimes you feeding me those words, you're labeling for me, that helps me to figure out, I might say, yeah, you know what, you're right, I am confused,
Mm-hmm.
or yeah, that's it. But that's you again trying to support me, trying to hear me, not trying to fix me, not
Mm-hmm.
trying to give me the answers, telling me what to do. Because sometimes I think, again, when people are not comfortable with the situation, that they try to fix it really quickly. So, as to say, we got the answer now, let's not talk about that anymore. Let's move on. Let's talk about something else.
You
And
know
that's
what?
that person being uncomfortable with trying to support me.
Yeah, I think that is very interesting because I work all with dementia and Alzheimer's patients, and when like I work with the like higher level of the progressive levels, and so I have residents who can't form full sentences, or they may be telling you something you have no clue what they're talking about. Like you can't even, but they're experiencing some type of emotion, or like but we communicate with them still. It's very interesting. Like we're still able to communicate and meet. I'm able to meet them on that level of where they are, whether I know what they're talking about or what, because it's like I'm reading them. It's like, that was nice. Because whatever it was, they felt that it was nice, and I was just connecting
Okay.
with whatever that was. And some of them, a lot of them, I think they really think I understand what they're saying, and they really think I'm their friend and I'm their buddy and not saying that I'm not, but they feel that connection and they're supported. Because I can't like even if I wanted to, I can't fix them. So
Right.
I get the practice of being able to just be supportive.
Okay, so it sounds like what you're saying is that you listen to behavior. Like you don't just listen to what people are saying verbally out of their mouths. You pay attention to what they do or don't do, how they respond to what you do or what you say, to give
Hmm.
you clues about what they might want, how they might want you to support
Hmm.
them.
Or
And
I mean,
I'm assuming that if you try to fix something for them, if you try to do something for them that they want to do for themselves, they let you know
yeah.
that that's not how I need your help. That's not how I want you to support me. That's not how I want you to be here for me.
Hmm. It then comes out a lot. Sometimes it can come out in behaviors. Like they might
Right.
start, and like this one lady, oh man, she get ready to go to the bathroom and she just starts having so much anxiety. Like, oh no, like she's not telling you about the fact that she has to use the bathroom, but she just like goes into this panic mode. She knows something's happening, and I think that's what happens sometimes on our journeys. We're like, what is happening? Like, what do I can't quite put my finger on it, but I think part of me being able to help her is I know her pattern. I know how she is.
Okay.
So kind of help her out and check there first based on just getting to know who she is on the core. And then the other part is to just kind of talk with her and let her kind of lead in that direction, but let her bring it to me like, with no, it's this. And then when something resonates, it's like playing like is it charades?
You
Like,
know, it's funny. It's funny that you say that because you said that you know how to support her because you've gotten to know her. You kind of know who she is and what she likes, what she doesn't like. But you know what I find interesting is sometimes people think they know you so well that they
mm,
think they know what you want and they respond to you in a way that's just so not you. You
mm,
understand what I'm saying?
yeah,
And sometimes how people respond to you and how they attempt to support you lets you know what they really think about you and who you are based on what they like. Did you really think I would want that? Did you really
right,
think that was going to be helpful for me?
right. And it's even
So,
more special when you do have that person who knows exactly what you need. That's golden right there. It's like, wow, you really know me. Like you knew that little piece was gonna cheer me up, and it could have just been something so simple. And I think that's just good listening skills.
Yeah. So for those of you that's peeping in, that's dropping by just for a minute, take a minute to say hello before you stroll on. Let us know how you like to be supported. When there's something going on in your life, how do you like to be supported? Do you want someone trying to tell you what to do, trying to make you feel better? Or do you want to be supported in a different kind of way? So just drop something in the chat to kind of let us know. But yeah, it's just really interesting, those persons that sometimes are closest to you, and I don't mean close to you like buddy buddy, but maybe in your space, maybe even family. And I think that happens a lot with family. Sometimes family feel like they know you.
Hmm.
I don't know that they always respect the personal growth that you've gone through. Like they're always going to see you as this one person, so they're
Hmm.
going to respond to you always as the person that they once knew, or you used to be, who who you were when you were younger.
Right, right.
Yeah, so then they respond to you that way. And so then the support that they give, while their intentions are good, it's just not helpful. And I think sometimes when people are going through depression and anxiety, and they're having to deal with thoughts that maybe they've never had before, um, we say stuff like, she just need to get it together, or I've told her about that, or she always tripping. So we don't know how to support people when they're going through some of that stuff. Sometimes it's the relationship that we have that interferes with our ability to really be there for people when they need us. So
Hmm.
I don't know how we, what do we do about that? Because I think sometimes it's as simple as just asking, what do you need for me to do? What do
Hmm.
you want from me right now? But
Hmm.
how often do we ask that question? And are
And
we not asking the question because we think we know this person? Or are we
mhm.
just not comfortable with the situation that they are in?
And how do we approach the situation? Making it
Right?
harder. I like to be alone, but
Yeah,
I
and
think,
some people do, and sometimes we don't respect that because we think if somebody is alone, that's a problem. Not everybody thinks that, but some people do think, well, she shouldn't be by herself. Well, how do you know she shouldn't be by herself?
mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's exactly what some people need. If they tell
Sometimes,
you that's what they need, that's what they need. Check in on them. Or at least if you're really concerned, then say, hey, I understand you want to be alone right now, but is it okay if I check on you periodically, or I'm gonna call you back around this time, or I'm gonna come by? So at least get their permission.
well, people not gonna always be honest about what they need, because sometimes they might need, but they don't need it from you because
Okay,
of whatever the relationship is.
right.
Like I need it, but I know like in the past, like you weren't, receptive in that way, or in the past it just didn't, like you ain't even that type of person I would go tell anything to. Like I don't even feel comfortable being vulnerable with you, so why would I allow you to help me in my hurt place? So
Right.
I think that's another kind of issue of like the person actually communicating it. Like for one, they may not know, and the other part is they may not have anyone that they feel like they can go to with that issue.
Well, I just want to say, Ivana said, just listen to hear them. People don't always want advice. They just want someone to hear them out. And a lot of people just want to be heard. And Christina, you were saying that maybe the relationship isn't there. Maybe they don't trust you in their vulnerable place. Maybe they do want to talk. They just don't want to talk to you. And I think that's where we have to be vulnerable enough to ask for help outside of our network if that's what we need. And I know people have their own feelings about mental health counselors and getting therapy and some of that stuff, but there are resources out here for people when they need someone to talk to. And if you're concerned about being judged by the people around you, if you're concerned about how they're going to try to fix you versus support you, then sometimes talking to a stranger, especially if it's over the phone, they don't see you. And I think sometimes people are a little brave, or have a little more courage to talk about some things that maybe they feel some shame and guilt about when it's over the phone. It's someone that they don't know. Mr. Burr says sometimes we don't ask people what they need from us because we don't want to extend ourselves outside our own comfort
Mm,
zone.
that's
This
good.
is why most tend to support the way they want to support. And I think that's a good point. I think it kind of goes back to what I was saying about sometimes we want to fix it for people because we're not comfortable with the situation they're in. And then just piggybacking on what Mr. Burr said, it brings up the question for me. If we're supporting people the way we want to support them, are we really supporting? If
Mm,
you're not supporting me in a way that's helpful for me, if you're not supporting me in a way that's actually going to not make me feel worse, is it really support?
hmm.
So
Yeah, and I
I
feel like
think,
if you got that kind of energy anyway, that you feel like it's gonna be a task to support me, and that's not something you naturally want to do, get away from me anyway. Goodbye, because I don't want somebody feeling like, ugh, like, because how much effort are they gonna put in, and how invested are they really into you, where they gonna like be there when you need them. Like if you can't, and it's forced, then were you ever really my friend in the first place?
yeah. So Megan says support should go both ways. And Mr. Burr says, wow, I'm not sure if he's commenting on something you were saying or something that was written. Um, But I have to say that when you think about it, we don't want everybody supporting us in every way. What came to mind was I've heard people say, you don't want everybody praying for you.
Yep.
So I guess you don't want everybody, just every and anybody supporting you
Yeah.
because sometimes people don't mean you well. And sometimes
Mhm.
they feel an obligation to say, do you need anything? Is there any way I can help? Any way I can help? And I think sometimes they ask those questions hoping that you say, no, I'm good. I don't need anything. And then they're off the hook. Now they don't actually have to follow through with their offer.
Mm.
But different people support you different ways. I know I have several siblings. There was 9 of us. Of course, one's passed. But it depends on what kind of support I need, whether it's feedback on you know what I'm doing with my job as a supervisor, whether it's about something to do with my, with your Ivana, depending on what it is, then I know which sister to call. I'm not going to talk to all my sisters about necessarily the same thing because I know they support me differently. So then I am kind of aware of that. There was one situation where I did call one of the sisters thinking that she would be understanding about a particular situation, and I misread that because it was clear that she had conversations with the other sisters who had their own opinion about what was happening. So she wasn't I didn't find her to be very supportive. It actually made the situation worse. It made me feel worse anyway. But for the most part, it's like we know who to go to for support in which situation. The only downside I can see to that is sometimes when we really need to hear the truth, when what is it, tough love is what we need to be supported, sometimes we avoid those people that's going to give us that tough love. And I
Mhm.
think that's what you were kind of referring to early.
Yep.
Sometimes you need to hear some of that stuff. Mr. Burr says sometimes people support with an agenda, that you will support them in the same manner. But you're correct, everyone is not meant to support in every way.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Yeah.
Yep.
So and like he said, some people have their own agenda.
Mhm.
And sometimes, again, is it out of obligation that you're asking to support me, that you're offering or extending a hand? So
Mhm.
it's kind of hard to say, but I do know we're at a time in society where people need support. And it's challenging to figure out how to support people who are not sure what they need.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, we jump in and we want to fix it because we don't know what they need either.
Mm-hmm.
So, at what point do we sometimes just listen and try to be present, even if there's nothing being said? I'm sitting here, you're sitting here. Because for some people, just presence, just somebody being there, even if they don't have an answer,
Mm-hmm.
even if they're not really talking to them, that support is sufficient sometimes for some people, for maybe that particular person.
Hmm.
But I do know that at this point, when we really do feel like we need support and we don't have the network of people in our lives to support us the way we need to be supported, then we might have to take a chance to reach out to professionals, to some hotlines, suicide hotline, mental health hotline. If you work for an agency that has an EAP, then maybe you need to go take advantage of that. Even some insurances would pay for a certain number of therapy sessions, um, and it doesn't even come out of your pocket. So I think those kind of resources can be really helpful. Mr. Burr says there's a reason we have two ears and one mouth. And yeah, that's really popular in the population that I work with. And sometimes, yeah, we do need to just listen. Listen more and talk less, because not everybody wants you to fix their problem. Not everybody wants you to fix them. Not everybody wants to hear um, they need to do something about this, that, and the other. Again, I think people a lot of times know um, what needs to be fixed. They just don't know how to fix it. And if you can be supportive, listen a little more, be a little more encouraging, then some people can figure it out on their own.
Hmm.
Christina, you
I
still with
think
me?
I think that when people don't know what they need, that's the best time to leave them alone. Like
I'm
you
sorry,
know,
did you say leave them alone or lead?
leave them, leave
Leave. Okay,
them
like
be.
let them be alone.
Yes,
Okay.
because well, you know me, like like the way I handle things, like I'm a spiritual person. So I'm going to my spirit space and I'm getting with my spirit and I'm trying to figure out, okay, what is it that I need to be doing? And I see guidance there. And I think that's why sometimes you are put alone or nobody can give you the answer because you're seeking the answers in the wrong place. So I think, you seek out here, out here, out here, and it's nothing that out there that's gonna satisfy you because there's something spiritual that you need to deal with.
Yeah.
And
Again, I think it goes back to basically what we're talking about is everyone um, likes not everyone likes to be supported in the same way, because I would caution like someone who already feels alone, they feel alone in this world, they feel that nobody understands, nobody hears them. That person might not be the person that needs to be alone. That's going to be the person that needs to seek the fellowship of other people.
mm, well,
So I guess we just have to be careful with that. And for anyone listening, if you do start to feel alone, that you don't have anyone, then that might be the time to seek professional help. So,
mm. Well, I mean, I think you can be alone and not feel alone. Like I'm just going to like I'm just going in this corner over here. I'm just going in this
yeah,
spot. I think that's the
yeah,
difference between putting yourself in the situation to figure, like you're putting yourself
yeah,
in that study room in that quiet space so that
yeah,
you soak it in
yeah.
versus out like on some depression, not feeling good about life type stuff.
Yeah, and that's the only thing I was referring to. I was just saying, like some people, like Megan and like yourself, sometimes you need that quiet, alone time, for that spiritual reflection, right? But
Mm-hmm.
then I'm saying if you are already feeling alone, that might not be a good time to be alone.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Miss Knight says, Support can be given and received in several different ways. As you said, being alone does not work for everyone. Fellowship has been my best friend. Mr. Burr says, alone is lovely. And again, it's different. It's different for everyone. So
Mm-hmm.
I know for me, there are times, it depends on what it is. There are times when I want to be alone. I don't want anybody to talk to me. I don't want anybody to say hey to me. And for me, those are times when I'm in my head. I have a lot of things going on. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm more likely to want to go to the park, run a couple of miles, walk a little bit, be outdoors, enjoy the fresh air. Because something about being alone and walking and being outside, something about that helps me clear my head. I don't know why, but for some reason, I think a little bit more clearly. So if you want to support me, if I say I got a lot going on, I need to clear my head, you might want to say, well, did you go to the park? Did you take a walk? And it might, as crazy as it may sound, I might be like, you know what? Yeah, I need to go for a walk or I need to go for a run. So sometimes when we're not in a very good place, then we don't always think about the resources we have available to us, things that we normally would do if we weren't so stressed or overwhelmed with other things. So if you know somebody and working out is what they like to do, going to the movies, going out to eat, whatever. If you know that's something a person likes to do and they're not doing it and it just doesn't even seem to be on the list, maybe you can support them by just kind of giving them a nudge and then reminding them that, look, there are other things that you can focus on right now. How about taking a break from all the negativity that you're feeling,
Mm-hmm.
that you're experiencing? Take a
Yeah.
break from that and do some of the things that make
Mm-hmm.
you feel good, some of the things you
Mm-hmm.
like. So even just making those
Exactly.
suggestions, I think, is a way to be supportive. Miss Knight said that I think she was referring to Megan's comment. She says, yes, nature, and Miss Knight says it's therapeutic.
I don't know if it's just me and attracting like minds around me, but I feel like more people, and maybe it's technology or the quarantine, but more people like being alone now than ever before. It's like being alone used to be a weird thing, or it used to, I don't know, it was different. Or maybe it's me getting older. I don't know, but it seemed like being alone is people would rather. It's like people would rather be alone now than socialize, and it's just it seems a lot more. I don't know. Maybe it's just the world that I'm in right now, but
Well, and I'm not sure if I'm understanding. Are you saying like maybe if before taking some time by yourself to be alone wasn't okay? You always had to be around people, or are you saying people don't want people at all? Because then I think,
I'm not. Well, I'm not saying that they don't want them at all, but it's like they only take them with a grain of salt now. Like I go to work, I'm dealing with people. Do I really feel like going to the grocery store and going through this whole process and then I don't know. Maybe it's just the people.
well,
Like it's
it sounds like to me what you're talking about is what you need at the moment. Like if you worked all day and you've had a busy, stressful day at work, then what you need at that point is maybe to be alone because maybe that's how you rejuvenate.
mm-hmm,
So I just think it's different for some people. Like you hear people a lot of times they go to work on Fridays and they just can't wait to go out Friday night. And
that's true.
sometimes that's because some people are better with fellowship or socializing. Being
Mm-hmm.
around other people is the way they exhale. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
exhale, they let go of the day, they can
Right.
refocus their minds on some other things
Mm-hmm.
where they can things can be a little bit lighter
Mm-hmm.
and you having fun talking with your friends, laughing, joking. That's lighthearted stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's complete opposite or in opposition to some of the stuff that you would have experienced earlier that day when things were so serious.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's part of it. So friends get together, they go hang out, just laugh and joking. That might be another way they support each other. And
Mhm.
somebody may even say, you know what, man, I don't want to talk about that right now. We having fun, we laughing. That's too serious for what we're doing right now.
I want to go back to something that you mentioned earlier, and you were saying something about how a friend might try to approach you with a form of support that's not even you. Like you thought I would need that, you like that's not even me, or the fact that that's showing me how you feel about me. I feel like, can you get offended by that? Like
Well, I
because
guess I
somebody.
should clarify that. I think I'm talking more or less about how they try to, what they come up with to fix it, not to support me. Like, I'm not really a flowers kind of person because they die. And I prefer to have something that's going to last for a while. Give me a card versus some flowers. So if you give me flowers and I'm not really a flower person, I'm not going to be upset because I understand the gesture. I understand the intent. But when you try to suggest something, and what you suggest to fix my situation implies that there's a problem with me and you don't know the whole story, yeah, I have a problem with that.
Hmm. So do you address that, or do you just like.
It depends. If what I'm dealing with is really heavy, um, then no, I'm not gonna address it. I got enough. At this point, I got enough on my mind,
Mhm.
and addressing you and your pettiness or your ignorance is probably not at the top of that list at that moment.
Mhm.
Now, will I come back later and address it? It depends on if it's important to the relationship or not.
Mhm. Mhm. Hmm. Interesting. Well.
Yeah. So I do want to thank so far those that have commented in the chat. I appreciate your comments. Thank you for dropping by to join us for the conversation. Again, as new people come in, want to thank you and invite you to comment in the chat. I have a comment from Miss Adams. I understand what Janae is saying. It may due to be due to the year we have been through. Some people may realize it's okay to spend time alone. Is it really necessary that I do this? What's important has changed for some people. Yeah. Um, I agree, and I think that's kind of what I was saying, that people realize it's okay to spend time alone, not necessarily that they don't ever want to be around other people. It's just that it's okay. And I
Mhm.
think I can remember a time when I wouldn't go to the movies by myself. I wouldn't
Mhm.
go out to eat by myself. It was
Right.
like, who does that?
Right.
But at some point in my life, I did reach a point to where it was okay for me to go do some things by myself if that's what I wanted to do. Even like Mother's Day, when I thought you guys had plans, I was like, well, I'm going to the beach anyway. So I was going by myself. And
Mhm.
at one point, I wouldn't have done that. But for me, I don't know that. I'm sure that's the case for some people, that they learn that they are okay alone, that it wasn't going to kill them, and maybe they adjusted. But for me, I think some of it for me was personal growth. Um, yeah, and just learning to value me more, and not
Mhm.
and understanding that I didn't necessarily need somebody else.
Mhm.
Um, so it's an option for me because I still like spending time with my family and so forth, but I will do things alone.
Mhm. Well,
Um, I
yeah.
think Miss Knight was starting to say something. Miss Knight, we'd love to hear from you. But yeah, so I think the big thing for me and what I wanted people to kind of hear is a couple of things. It's definitely personal growth, Miss Knight said. So I think what I want people to hear is one, what would make you feel better isn't necessarily what's going to make somebody else feel better. And as Ivana said earlier, sometimes people just want to be heard. They don't always want to know the answer. They don't always want you to fix it. And I'm hoping and encouraging those of you out there who have a difficult time asking for help. If you want guidance, if you want advice, if you want someone else to fix it or give you ideas on how to fix it, then ask for that. So that would be how they support you, by sharing their thoughts. And I'm hoping that when they share it, that they give you the option to not have to do what they say. That makes sense. You understand what I'm saying, Janae?
Yeah, yeah,
So
but
if you say,
I
well, what would you
understand.
do? And I say, I would do this. And then you say, well, I'm not going to do that. Then I get mad. Why do you hang up? Yeah, not that.
Yeah, I think you just kind of have to. Sorry, my cat's distracting me. Um, I'm sorry. What were you saying? Stop. What were you saying? Okay.
That when you open yourself up, when someone opens themselves up and asks for your advice, be okay if they don't take your advice.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to know that you when somebody gives you advice, they're only speaking from their situation. So the way that they think can be very limited, and it may not be strong enough to get you through, or it may not be really the answer for what you can really do with what you got, what you're dealing with. And so know that, if it don't work out because you decided to listen to somebody else, then that's on you. But I think most people tend to listen to somebody that they can trust anyway, or that they, know has a good head on their shoulder. I mean, if you're not about nothing, or you're just not the person that they believe make good decisions, they then probably won't listen to you anyway.
Right.
So,
I, I
mhm.
want to go back to something Marie said. She said, what's important has changed for some people. And I would definitely agree with that, just because I think there were things that we took for granted, and some of those things we lost during the pandemic. I think people had time to reflect on who they were, what they wanted, and what was important to them. And sometimes, and this is part of a training that I do. Sometimes what is important um, for us, like things to keep us safe and healthy, isn't important to us. So sometimes we think, why is she not doing this, that, and the other? Um, she's not taking care of herself, or she's not doing these things that she need to be doing. And it just, while it might be important for her to do those things, it just might not be important to her. Is that necessarily a good thing? No, not necessarily. um, but we just have to understand that whether or not somebody does what is best for them depends on what's important to them. So when you look at it that way, sometimes people's decisions don't make sense to us, but it's more about what's important to them. And hopefully, at some point, with good friends, good family, and their ability to give them good, well meaning feedback, maybe they can balance the two. They can balance what's important for them with what's important to them, which means they have to have a trade off and give up a little bit of something. But hopefully they can do that. But yeah, what's important has definitely changed over the past year and a half. I would dare say 2 years.
I think in general I'm just like a fixture type person. Like I was really good at math. Like it's the way I handle life. Like 1 + 1 = 2. Like let me solve this problem for you. Like this X and this Y, like I can figure this out. Like just let me like let me make sense of all of it and we're gonna put it together, boo. But I think that's just how I handle things. Even in my own life, it's like if I can't. Sometimes it's like if I can't hurry up and fix it, like the whole world is coming down and everything is crashing down on me because I don't know how to just. I don't know the answer, and I think so because that's how I deal with things in my life. That's how I reflect that back to other people. It's like that's how I deal with certain things. So I think I'm giving myself the best way to kind of push myself through what I'm going through. Then I guess I would assume that doing that to you or for you would be a good form of support. And so I think that would naturally be the first response. But I think we have to get out of our natural first responses and be willing to be open to listen and to hear from that person
Yeah.
because they're
So
not the
and just to piggyback off what you're saying about getting out of our natural responses, the other thing that comes to me, and we're approaching the end of the hour, but the other thing that comes to me is cultural differences, right? Different people, different cultures, different families, different ethnicities. We we handle things differently. Some people cry, some people don't. Some people celebrate death, some people mourn death. So I think when you when you're around people and you want to be helpful, even if this isn't someone you have a close relationship with, you also have to consider also I'm sorry, my battery's going dead. We also we also have to consider the cultural differences when we're trying to figure out how to support somebody. And sometimes when there are cultural differences, it's a good opportunity for you to learn something different about how other people do things, right? And how they handle situations. Because then maybe one day it can be an option for you. You're like, oh, yeah, I remember when such and such was going through this. She said
Mhm,
they do this in her culture or they do this in her family. I might be able to try that.
mhm. I think I said this before, but I think the TV is a great has a great influence on how we respond to certain things. And I think there's been a time where I had never been through something before, but I know I've seen it on social media like, okay, this is the way you handle things when it goes this way. And I think because I didn't know how to react, I think I reacted in the way that I thought I was supposed to. And it's based on, my only experience with it, which was from maybe TV or something like that.
Oh,
I can't
okay.
remember exactly what it was, but it's like
Yeah.
that was the only that's the only place I saw it. It's like, okay, well, this is how I deal with it. Like this is and that's I know I can't be the only one, and I know has to happen more often.
Yeah.
I think it does.
And just when you said, I thought, like, wow, I wonder if that happens a lot with younger kids or even teenagers. It's like, well, I don't have anyone I can talk to about this. I don't want to talk to my parents or an adult. But I remember on this TV show, in this
Mhm.
episode, this person did this. So that's what I'm going to do.
Right,
And I
exactly.
guess that's how we kind of figure some stuff out on our own
Hmm.
by what we see. So when they talk about role models, I guess it's similar. The TV or these TV shows are modeling for us how to support each other or things we can do to take care of ourselves.
Hmm. And I wonder if the women's jail feel right up when the Real Housewives, the Basketball Wives, and all of that started
You
coming
say
on.
you wonder what?
If the women's prisons start piling up, because the Basketball Wives, the Housewives,
Oh,
all that drama, throwing the glass drinks and all of that. I know I have wanted to act the fool sometimes just based off of that. Like, dang, like I want to get real too, like in real life. Like let's be real about stuff, but it's just like
yeah.
you know,
People waiting to exhale, burning up
yeah.
stuff.
I can't wait to act crazy like my favorite character on TV, and I mean the TV and the media and whatever you're exposed to, period, is
Yeah.
very powerful.
So Miss Knight says it does. Social media has a huge effect on how the kids deal with certain situations. People idolize the people they see on social media. Yeah, which is really kind of unfortunate because when people say and do things, they don't think about how it impacts or affects others. I can see and understand sometimes when people do things and they was like, I don't care what people think about me. Okay, but I think you're referencing other adults, but what about the kids that's watching you? So,
Mhm.
um, I want to say that I truly, truly appreciate everyone who commented in the chat and
Yeah.
joined us to help make the conversation a little more interesting. I'm gonna ask if you would share, if you would share the program tonight, so others can see and hear us, and hopefully join us for another conversation. Um,
We
Megan
stream.
says these things weren't allowed back in the day. Megan, can you elaborate a little bit what things weren't allowed back in the day, if you don't mind? What were you saying, Christina?
I was saying, where do we stream? On Facebook, on YouTube, through the Promise Resource Network, right? What did you do? Uh-oh. Hello? Oh, her computer died. Okay, so I guess I'm taking over now. If I'm still live. If anybody can hear me, will you please comment? Things on TV shows. Kids wasn't allowed to access social media. Yeah, yeah. Back in the day, like kids, like we didn't even get cell phones till we were 13. Okay, got you. Thank you, Miss Knight. Yeah, like we didn't have cell phones and everything. Now kids, when they're babies, they get iPads. Like they are exposed to everything. But I mean, they try to have control on what's going on out there, but they don't always. They don't always. And so these kids are being exposed at young ages that who knows what. And then you can't control what kind of content comes up on TikTok. You can't control what kind of content comes up on, you know, Instagram. Like I don't think they have parental advisories on those. So kids gonna react in the way that they copy. Some kids you can look at them and say, "Oh boy, you act just like your mama." Like goodness, if you ain't your mama. And I think that's because they react the same way they see other people react. My Evelyn said, my computer died. Thank you all for joining us. Please join us in 2 weeks. Yes. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Oh, there she is. It's 8:59. The radio curse now. Back in the day, used to blur things out, is what Megan said. Yep. They let it all hang out. I mean, there ain't no secrecy. There is nothing to be hidden. Everything is revealed. Okay? Everything is revealed. And so kids are just exposed to everything. And I don't know if that's good or bad, because back in the day, it's like, why hide certain things? Like, we need to know what we're dealing with. Or, parents would try to hide stuff, and we did know about it, and it didn't do us any harm. We just knew about it, and that was it. So, Evelyn, are you back on with us? I can't hear you. Well, that's all right. It's 9:00. So thank you for joining us. Like she said, we'll be back in 2 weeks. Esteban said, buenas noches.
I'm back.
Goodbye. We are wrapping it up. Me and Esteban said, buenas noches. And you talking about you back.
Buenas noches. Lo siento.
Okay, get off. Now she cutting up.
Yeah, I am sorry. I am sorry for that.
Well, thank you, Miss Knight, for joining us and being a part of it. Thank you, Meg. Good night.
Miss Maurice, Mr. Burrs,
Mr. Burris.
Miss McGill.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Miss McGill.
Miss
All
Diaz.
right.
All right. Oh, my face is back. All right. Good night. Thank you again for joining us. Hope you'll join us again in 2 weeks at 8:00. Listen to the target. Okay. Christine, can you translate for me? She says, sorry, the late. Oh, sorry you were late. That's okay. Please join us next in 2 weeks, Miss Diaz. Join us then. Good night.